If your name's Clint and you met one of the trainers who looks after Fern on the creek today, don't worry. They hadn't have stolen my dog. They were just exercising her while I rest up for the next massive week. She did say you had some really nice nuggets though, and I'm kind of curious to see them. So if you are that Clint, please send me a message with nugget pics. But more importantly, I thought this would be a good opportunity to bring up what is fundamentally one of the most important things that you can have in your life, whether you're a gold prospector, a golfer, or Elon Musk. And I think it's a crying shame that Elon Musk hasn't come out with his own deodorant called Musk. Before I ramble any further, what I'm talking about is support networks. Now, support networks are fundamentally important for a number of reasons, and most people turn off when they hear the word support network because I don't think it's explained correctly. Yes, a lot of people will consider something like your family or your friends to be your support network, and that is very true. But other people in your life can be just as much, if not more important, when it comes to your support network. And it has to be done in a way that's reciprocated. This is something that's very important that also needs to be discussed. But let's get to the skinny of it. Your support network is essentially the people that you surround yourself with. So it's not necessarily you relying on your family members or your friends. It's the people that you choose to bring into your life in a regular capacity. So in my world, I got a lot of dog trainer mates, and that's a massive part of my support network. I couldn't do it without them because they give me invaluable insight and knowledge into how I can make Fern's life really good, how she can then fit into my life really well. And through that working relationship, I've become pretty good friends with a lot of them. And what that does for your psyche is brings in a level of drive and ambition. So I get to bounce off their drive. I'll take Fern in for a working session. I'm like, hey, I'm struggling with her doing this sort of behavior. I need her to do this sort of behavior to fit into my life better. Where's the compromise? What am I missing, right? And they all get really passionate and enthusiastic about the advice they give. So they'll come back and say, hey, I've watched you and I've observed you doing this. Why don't you try changing these things? And hopefully that will work. And then once you've done that, if it works, great. If it doesn't work, we can go back to the drawing board. That kind of interactive advice is key in a positive loop support network. I'm going to re-say that. A positive loop support network. Because you can have a negative support network. And if you get caught in a loop in that negative support network, it can be really detrimental to your overall physical state of being and your mental state of being. Don't get me wrong, that's probably more important, right? So, for instance, if you've got mates that you hang out with, so whether they be workmates or social friends who, let's just say for the hell of it, use alcohol more than you would regularly use it if you weren't around them. Well, their influence rubs off on you. So the way that they might be dealing with their stresses in their life is to sit back after work and have 6 beers. Sure, on a weekend you want to have, get a bit loose and relax and enjoy yourself. There's nothing wrong with doing that, but perhaps it doesn't suit your lifestyle. Perhaps it doesn't align with the actual goals and ambitions that you want to achieve in the near future. Because, drinking a fair amount of alcohol leads to things like weight gain. It's a depressant, so it can literally lead to mental depression. It causes liver damage and it causes you to feel like crap the next day, and so you're less motivated to do something like, say, get up and work out and then start on your business plan. Whereas the flip side is you might have other people in your life who have that positive support network around you where you're going to do something like, they inspire you to just push that little bit further within your training of whatever you're training. Maybe that's a personal trainer who's like, hey, you've done really well this week. You've dropped 500 grams of weight. I can definitely see more definition in your upper arms, and I'm going to introduce you to these sort of exercises and see how you go with them. That might spur you on to that next level of what you want to do. So don't think of your support network so much as your family and your friends necessarily, but think of it more about in terms of who you invite into your life. What are you inviting into your life? Is it going to net positive benefit you and the other person? Is that a symbiotic relationship that will ultimately put you both in a better position? Or is it a one-sided relationship where perhaps they're giving everything to you and you're not giving anything back, or vice versa, you're giving everything and they're not giving anything back? Or is it a negative impact where you're being taken down a path that you don't necessarily want to go down? There's a famous quote, and I can't remember who says it, but I'll end the video on this. You ultimately become who you surround yourself by. So in other words, if you surround yourself by drop kicks and losers, you're probably going to end up as a drop kick and loser simply because you're in that environment more often than not. And it'll rub off on you. Whilst there are concessions to every single rule out there, I think it's a good one to listen to. What are you inviting into your life? What kind of support network are you building? And if your name's Clint, send me nugget pics.